Hey everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to
The Drunken Library.
And today we are doing Amy's tea tag.
Yes, we are.
Right? Because tea and books and stuff.
Yeah.
And
They go together.
Yeah, they do. We were tagged in this by the ladies over at the restricted section. We will link their video down below, like we do. So they told us we were allowed to spike the tea.
Which is good, because we were going to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. We do what we want, and usually what we want involves spiking whatever beverage we're drinking, so.
Yeah, especially for this YouTube channel.
Yeah. So we're gonna get started.
Do that. So the first one is Double Bergamot Earl Grey, which is a robust, deep, intellectual, and flavorful book.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you pick?
I chose the essential writings of Ralph Waldo Emerson. I have not read all of this. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have not read all of this. I have read bits and pieces. The thing that stuck with me the most is Self-Reliance, which is one of his best-known essays. I'm going to read all of this probably very soon because I love the Transcendental movement and I love them very much. But there is a lot going on in each tiny little essay in here. It's a lot of thoughts on life and how you should live it, and it's just like super cool. So check it out if you haven't.
I picked Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. This is, if you've never read it, it's 6 separate stories, kind of combined-ish, but they overlap in lots of different ways. There's a lot of themes that are represented differently in each story. There's a lot, just the way that they transition from one thing to the other. It's amazing.
Next, I'll do the next one. The next one is Tim Horton's Steeped, which is a book you read on the go that you've come back to again and again.
So the book that I've reread the most ever in my life is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I used, pretty much for the entirety of middle school, all I did was reread the Harry Potter books that were out at the time.
The one I chose is The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. If you've watched any video we've ever done, ever, you know how much I love John Wyndham. He is my favorite sci-fi author from the 50s, 60s era. And actually, Amber bought me this book because I didn't have money at the time.
Yeah.
But I had read this sort of in passing once when I was actually looking to read a different book by John Wyndham. And it came in like a collection, and I was like, I'm going to just read the whole thing. And then I fell in love with him. But this actually ended up being my favorite thing he's written.
Ooh.
It's about plants that kill people.
I want to read that.
You need to. It's amazing.
So the next one is Meyer Lemon, a tangy, fast-paced read, gone before you fully savored the flavor.
I went with Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book was all over the internet and my life a couple of years ago. It came out in, I think, 2011. It's pretty fast-paced, like, adventure, dystopian, sci-fi kind of thing about, like, a virtual reality video game, kind of, with a shitload of pop culture references, and it's really amazing. And it's so much happening all at once, and then all of a sudden it's over, and you're like, oh, but I'm not done with those characters yet, and it's really, really good. So, like, if you haven't read it, just do.
I picked Libriomancer by Jim C. Hines. This is about... I borrowed this originally from my brother and my sister-in-law, and then I bought my own copy, which I haven't read yet. But it's about these group of people that are able to reach into books and pull things
just
out of them.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. The main character in the book is really like sci-fi, so he's always pulling shit out of sci-fi novels and books and stuff, and there's like a big bad guy and things and stuff is happening, and they have to fight him with the stuff that they find in the books, and it's
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Chamomile Lavender, which is a relaxing, calming read or calming late night read. Sorry, I have words.
But you also have alcohol, so it's okay.
I have so much alcohol and so few words.
So my answer for this presently is the H.P. Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu, and Other Stories. I've been making my way through this collection.
I have so many feelings.
Here's the thing. I've been reading this at night before I go to sleep.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I support it.
And I'm not, like, saying that anything... Although I did read a story that was pretty good recently, this one. Anyway, I texted you about it.
You did.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's pretty good. But, yeah, I've just been reading it. Thing is that he kind of gets you into a certain mindset for all of his stories. And so they're not necessarily creepy. They just kind of make you feel real thoughtful, I think.
That's fair. I went with Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. I would probably say this branches out to pretty much any book by Shel Silverstein. These are childhood favorites of mine. This is one of his books of poems and illustrations, and he also did Falling Up, and there were a couple of other ones. He also wrote The Giving Tree and some other, like, story books, but this, I adore Shel Silverstein, and it just, like, takes me back to a nostalgic place and makes me really happy and calm before I go to sleep. So, and I also just really like reading poems before bed. It's kind of like a nice, just, like, rhythmic, soothing way to get your brain into sleep mode. And you know I have, like, sleep issues, so for me that helps. So,
Lady Grey, which is a smooth, subtle classic book, perfect for serene winter morning.
alright. I went with This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is my absolute favorite book that I've read by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is his first novel, and this book is actually credited with the creation of The Flapper.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently a lot of ladies use this as like a reference instruction manual for that lifestyle. So it's super like 20s jazz age kind of stuff, and if you enjoyed Gatsby at all, and I know a lot of people do and a lot of people, you know, don't. But if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed that style, if you enjoyed that like era in history to read about it, this is amazing. It's like kind of calm just because it's like about this one character's progression from like college throughout the rest of his life, but like it's an easy read, and it's also just like, oh, it's so good. I can't actually explain it, but it's really good. I love it.
Is it really good?
Super good.
Okay, so for my classic serene winter morning book, I picked Myths and Legends of Japan. Not gonna lie, I haven't actually read anything in this book
Specifically.
yet.
Right.
However, I did read another collection of Japanese fairy and folk tales, myths and legends and all of that fun stuff. And it is the kind of thing that classics, because Japan is old. It's been around a while.
They will write some shit. There's some shit.
I like their shit though.
Yeah, it's fun to read, but like there's some shit.
Yeah. But so a lot of these stories are like hundreds of years old. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. But they're just kind of fun.
Next on here is Orange Pico, which is a popular novel that everyone has read.
Pick Catcher in the Rye. A lot of people had to read this in school.
We did a video about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I think.
It's not awful. Yeah, this book, though.
This book.
I went with The Notebook.
Oh my god.
Nicholas Sparks. I actually have the movie edition of this, which I'm not extra proud of. But, like, you find me someone who hasn't at least seen the movie of this, because this is absolutely a popular book that everyone has read.
I wasn't expecting that from you at all.
But it's definitely a book a lot of people have read, so...
That's true.
And also probably the biggest throw you for a loop in this list from me, so...
Yeah, that's why I couldn't stop laughing. I wasn't
That's
expecting
great.
that at all. Okay, so the next one is English Breakfast, which is a British classic.
pretty legit. I went with, and this is fucking hilarious because Amber figured out that this is what I would pick for this.
I knew it. I knew she would.
And I'm gonna hold it up, and you're not gonna be able to see because I have a fucking old ass edition that doesn't have a dust jacket on it. But I have the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. I'm gonna hold up the spine because it has the title on it. I stole this book from my high school library because I'm a goddamn rebel. And this is the reason I didn't get my diploma until I was 22. I love this book. It's a collection of epic poems about a bunch of characters on a quest, and it's amazing. And we read it in class, and I got the full book because there were, like, censored bits in the part we read for class, and I wanted to see what they were. And then I just never brought it back to the library.
Yeah, I was, well, okay. So I picked Macbeth.
I read that in the same class, actually.
Haha! I read this, with my brother's syllabus at one point.
I dig it.
Yeah,
good
so
one.
I picked, Macbeth, because my logic was what's older and more British than Shakespeare, and then...
The Canterbury Tales is.
Well, yeah, when I asked myself that, I was like, oh, the Canterbury... Sam already picked it. Sam picked
Just
that
that
one.
happened.
And then I was here, and she's like, oh yeah, blah, 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 I picked the cat. I was like, I knew that. I knew it already.
Of course you did.
I knew that. That's, of course, what happened.
Our friendship is gross. Is the moral of the story. Next question, fucking bullshit on here, is Canadian Breakfast, which is a title that tastes a little like English breakfast, but reads like the New World. So an early Canadian or American work.
So I was trying to pick only things that I've read, and in regards to early American literature, I couldn't necessarily think of anything that I owned that was old and American. I haven't read really any old Canadian anything
That you know of,
that
at least.
that I know of yet. But I picked a classic anyway, and it is The Great Gatsby.
I chose, this is just a collection, but it's The Raven and Other Writings by Edgar Allan Poe. It's cheating a little, I guess, because Edgar Allan Poe was born in Boston, and he's an American author, and most of his adult life was spent here, but he did spend a small part of his childhood in England. But he's a fucking American author. Whatever. But it does have a British feel when you read it. It does.
So the next one is Green Tea, which is my personal favorite.
I'm about that Lady Grey, personally.
So Green Tea, a healthy book that feeds your mind. Oh, my nose is itchy.
That is not feeding your mind or your nose.
I
went with Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. This book I read probably 3 years ago now. A friend of mine recommended it to me. It is about a talking gorilla.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, you'd probably love it.
I never knew
It's
that.
a talking gorilla who is trying... I'm going to read you guys one sentence from the synopsis on the back, which is, teacher seeks pupil, must have an earnest desire to save the world. Apply in person. It's... The teacher is the talking gorilla, and he's explaining creation stories and mythology to this pupil, and how everything that you think might be true could also just be a myth. And it kind of changes just the way you look at things. And even if you don't necessarily buy into what's being said here, it kind of causes you to stop and think about it. And it's a really, really good book. And it has a sequel, which I haven't read yet, but I own. So, we'll see how that goes.
So, I picked Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. My logic behind picking this book is that it's so detailed, and it's essentially just a fictionalized history lesson. And so it makes you think about, you hear about British monarchy, and mostly the British monarchy.
That's important enough.
Yeah, there's and like Europe.
There's some shit.
There's some shit, and you think like, oh, it was so glamorous, and they were so pretty, and blah blah blah, and their life was so glamorous and whatever, and then actually there's a lot of backstabbing, and things are more complicated than they seem, and Plus, this book has dragons, so that's pretty cool.
Haven't read that one yet. I've actually been borrowing that exact copy for like a year and a half now and haven't gotten to it yet because I'm the worst friend ever.
I have like 2 of your books, it's fine.
That's fair. We own a collective set of books.
There are books.
So it's fine.
All of the books are our books.
Alright, the next thing on here, and this is the last question, it is iced tea, which is a sweet summer treat brewed for the lazy brief days of summer.
I don't like sweet iced tea so
Nah,
much.
Regular iced tea I'm super cool with.
Yeah.
Unsweetened or like lightly sweetened with honey. Or super great, but like a sweet tea, like, nah.
Ooh, I just got the heebie-jeebies.
About sweet tea?
Nope. Just in general.
Well, yeah. Roll with it. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, Lazy Brief Days of Summer. I picked 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. I've read this book twice, I think. I read it when I was a teenager, and then I read it again recently because I just got the sequel a couple months ago. And nothing makes me feel lazier in the summer than reading about this girl who's going all over Europe on crazy adventures.
General, like, poppy lit stuff is good for summer, I think.
Yeah, probs.
The one I chose, I've mentioned the author before, I have not mentioned this specific book, is The Love Machine by Jacqueline Suzanne, who wrote Valley of the Dolls, which I mentioned in our Beery and Books Take, and probably a bunch of other times if you've talked to me at all. This one is actually my favorite book of hers. Love Machine. It is, again, just like a poppy, trashy pop culture read about like life in the 60s and 70s. This one's about like TV production rather than stage Broadway productions, which is what Valley of the Dolls kind of centers on. But this one just has stuck with me more, and I've gone back to it a few more times. But this is one that I like to read when I'm just feeling lazy about reading, like when I get sick and want to do a reread, or when it's summer and it's hot out and I just want to read something. This is one of the ones I go to. So, it's a great book. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much our
Amy's tea tag.
Tea tag.
Tea,
List.
books, tea. They're things we love all around. And tea is more exciting when there's rum in it. So.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, we're
Gonna tag
Camille over at The Chameleon, because we think that it would be pretty cool to see you do this.
Yeah. So do it. If you do it, let us know. And if you are watching this also, we
Do
tag
it.
you.
Just,
Let
go
us
for
know. Link us to your video. Tell us what you think. Or just answer these questions in the comments because we want to know your opinions too. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.